Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Green Earth Podcast. In today's episode, we're joined by Megan Harper, the Sustainability Manager at Bayfields Opticians and Audiologists, sharing her inspiring story of building the sustainability department from the ground up. But before we begin, I'd like to remind you that the Green Earth Podcast is a Green Earth initiative. Green Earth is a large scale, nature based project developer, and our goal is to help nature flourish and prosper. If you want to read more about our projects, please check our website, green.earth. The link is also in the description. But for now, with no further ado, here's our conversation with Megan Harper. So, Megan, again, thank you so much for doing this and accepting this invitation. I'm really, really excited to have this conversation. I'd love to hear a little bit about you, actually. How did you get into this? How did you get interested in working in sustainability? Can you tell me a little bit about your journey?
Yeah, so I've always had a strong interest in sustainability, and it definitely goes back to when I was at school. I've always been fascinated by the environment, social justice, and how everything is really interconnected. And those early interests really shaped my decisions as I got older. I did my bachelor's degree in like a related field, and in my personal life, from the way I live to what I read, watch, and care about, has always reflected those values. So, pursuing a master's in sustainable development at the University of Sussex just really felt like a natural next step for me. And that academic experience really grounded me in both global values and also like local practical action, what that can really look like as well. And at that time, when I was studying for my master's, I was working full time at Bayfields in our client communications team. And that gave me a really strong understanding of business operations and also business values as well, and how we communicate that to our clients and also our colleagues as well. And at one of our biannual roadshows that we do, someone suggested forming a sustainability group, well, a sustainability committee, and I completely ran with it. I followed it up, I kept pushing for it, and eventually we formed a small group of like minded colleagues. And I ended up chairing the committee. And it became a really important space where we could actually explore ideas and then also talk about little wins and what we could learn and what was actually possible within the business. And that actually led me to be more involved in the ESG side of things in the business as well, and ESG reporting and that wider sustainability work across the business. And then in mid 2023, I pitched a fully dedicated role to the board of directors, outlining what that could actually look like, the roadmap, the impact, and how it could actually align with our growth as a business. And thankfully, they completely supported it. And since January 2024, I've been the sustainability manager at Bayfield. And I would say it's been a really organic journey. And I'm really proud to help shape and develop that role. That's something that's really proactive and strategic for the business from the ground level up.
That's an amazing story. And I'm curious, do you remember when was the first time that you realized that you wanted to, follow that path? Because, that canonic story of kid that helps his little friend that got hurt riding a bike and realizes, oh, I want to be a doctor. Do you have any memories of this sort? Because you mentioned like this is not just a job for you, this is really a way of living. And I'm curious to hear what inspired you to get into this path.
I think I don't probably have a moment like the one you've just described. I would say I feel like I've always been that way minded. I've been really fortunate to grow up in the countryside and to see animals and to see like different sides of the earth and not always grow up in that urban environment. So I think it's just always been a way that I've been wired. And I think that's actually really nice. I've never really had like a light bulb moment to be on that journey. I think I've always just believed that way. And what you see, the way that I've shaped by what I've read and also what I watch and what I'm really interested in, it feels like I feel really connected to it. I feel quite connected to the earth, and I feel really connected to trying to protect it. And I would just say that that is my drive in my personal life, and that's why I wanted to do it in my professional career as well.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, I always find this super, super inspiring because, yeah, I absolutely love people just following what they are and leaving that to extend not just for their jobs, but for their lives as well. I think this is amazing. And what you mentioned regarding, your pitch to the board, I think that's a great, great story. So, can you delve into a little bit of that a little bit more? So you had this sustainability committee, what you guys were doing there, and then when did you have the idea to pitch this actual position to the board?
I was really lucky because the board were already thinking about it as well, so it was definitely on their radar. So it was more like a mutual decision between us both. The board wanted someone to lead sustainability within the business, and I was the ideal candidate, which is absolutely amazing. And being part of the sustainability committee and also chairing that committee, um, that felt like I really pushed for that within the business, which hopefully has led to all the latest decisions further down. And to become the chair of the committee, we were all just on the meeting together, and someone went, "Who wants to be the chair of the committee?" And I was like, me, I want to be. And then my manager now, she joked and said, "Well, we were hoping that would happen anyway. We hope it would be you, but we didn't want to force you to do something that you didn't want to do." So I thought that was really lovely. And it was more like a monthly meeting that we were talking about, discussing all these ideas that we had. But obviously, you can't make tangible impact unless you have the backing from the board, which is what led to the decision to put myself forward as well. And it was great that they already were thinking the same. So I basically pitched forward what I believe to be a really good roadmap for Bayfields and how we could get there, what were the steps that we necessarily needed to take. And one of those was definitely to reach net zero. And I think that's what our sustainability journey has really been about thus far. And talking about net zero and how we want to achieve it. And what does that really look like? Because I feel like that's a term that's really spoken about within the sustainability sector, but not massively spoken about that much in day to day business operations. And do people really understand what that term means? And I think it can be a bit understood at times. So that's exactly what I put forward. I spoke about what I wanted to do with that roadmap and also just talking about how we can embed it into our core business strategy. And how we can get to net zero by the end of 2026 if we take all these different steps and we work with these great suppliers to understand the bigger picture and what it really looks like.
That's very interesting. And what does that mean for you? Like what reaching net zero means for you, and of course Bayfields as well. How was that conversation? What was the this picture that you envisioned?
I think when I look back on it now, there was so much more I could have said. So, because you just gain knowledge, don't you, with everyday operations and doing your job role and talking to people and learning more. I don't claim to be an expert. What I am is someone who's really passionate, who has a degree in it. So I do have the academic background as well. And my understanding at the time was definitely how this one supplier could help us get there. And though that supplier was great, they gave us that foundation and that understanding and that knowledge about the roadmap to net zero and understanding what those three different scopes look like. You've got scope one, you've got scope two, and then you've got scope three. And for us, what I pitched forward was about understanding how we measure our impact on the environment rather than just understanding that we have an impact. We need to measure it and understand what that truly looks like before we can start making further decisions. And as well with that, it's about educating other people as well, the knowledge that I have. And although Bayfields are still at the start of our journey in general with sustainability, we're on the journey, and that's the main part. We're trying to be that tangible change within the industry and within the market in general. So I think that's really amazing.
Indeed, indeed. That's I find it again very, very interesting how this journey came to be because I think this paints a picture of what a realistic sustainability journey looks like for a company. I mean, it started off as a somewhat simple and easy initiative of just having one meeting a month, and then it evolved into an actual plan to reach net zero. I think this is amazing. Can you tell me a little bit of how did the other sectors of the company, how did your colleagues start, perceived this change inside of the company? Were there any actions that affected their work, and how did they feel about that?
I think if we start with the sustainability committee in particular, it was a really small group, but that doesn't necessarily reflect the rest of the business that they weren't interested in sustainability. To be part of the group, it was about dedicating time every single week to talk about sustainability. And there'd be some months where there might be a few people on the call, and there might be some months where the whole team was on the call. So, and I don't think that was a true reflection of people's care and commitment about sustainability within the business. It was just about time and maybe not having that time that day to do it. So I don't think it would be fair to say that although because it was a small group, that the rest of the company doesn't feel the same. But also, I won't shy away from the fact that not everybody is as passionate about sustainability as I am, as you might be, and that's absolutely fine. But I would say that my job in Bayfields, well, part of my job is to recognize that sustainability doesn't need to be about these massive changes at all. It's just about educating yourself a little bit about what certain terminology means, what it means for us as a business, and not always going in and changing things in a dramatic way, but more so the fact that those little changes can make a really big impact. So people who I've spoken to in the practices, some of them are really like, "Oh, I don't quite know about this and that as about sustainability." And it's like, that doesn't matter. Your eagerness and your willingness to ask questions is absolutely amazing. And that goes above and beyond some people's thought processes. But also, if people are at one end of the spectrum or the other, I still think it's just about educating yourself and learning a little bit more about the impact that humans actually have on the planet. So I don't expect everyone to be really excited about sustainability or completely passionate or want to be in the same role that I am. But all I expect from them is just to listen and also just talk to clients about it and have that willingness to ask questions and to be curious and everything. That's what I would want from people.
That's amazing. You mentioned about little actions inside of the business that make a great impact. Can you give me a couple of examples of initiatives that you guys took at Bayfields that generated a great environmental impact?
Absolutely. So we offer glasses recycling to all of our clients. So that means that any client who walks through one of our practices, they can recycle any used, unused, broken glasses, any dummy lenses, any old sunglasses, old prescriptions, glasses cases. So it's quite a varied list, but they can walk into any of our practices and actually recycle that, which is, I think, amazing. And it's like becoming like a one-stop shop for recycling with us. We also offer contact lens recycling in every practice as well. So that's through our partnership with TerraCycle and my group. So, and going beyond our own footprint and also recycling as well, we're holding our suppliers accountable as well. So every frame supplier that we work with, we're asking for their corporate social responsibility documentation because we know that sustainability has to run through the entire supply chain as well. So we want to see that. We want to understand what their impact looks like as well. And the biggest difference, I think, is that we're not just talking about sustainability as well. We're measuring it, we're acting on it, and we're constantly looking for new ways to improve. And it's about putting forward real, measurable progress and to make sure that we are continually moving forward. It might be small steps, it might be a big step, but we're constantly moving forward. And that's the most important thing, I believe, for the business.
I love what you said about the glasses recycling because I actually personally don't I have some issues with that because well I wear glasses and I am one of the lucky ones that has to change their prescription every year or so. So every year I go to, and I'm also the most careless person on the planet, so I've broken so many glasses I don't even know how many. So every year or so I have to go and exchange my lens, and I usually use the same, the same frames. And every time that I change my lens, they deliver me the new glasses with the new lens, and they give me the old lenses back, and they're like, "Oh yeah, here are your old lenses in case you want to keep them or whatnot. And I never know what to do with them. So I actually have a drawer right here with, I don't know, maybe 15 lenses that are from, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. And I don't know, generally don't know what to do because I think maybe one day I'll need them. So I don't want to throw them away. But at the other on the other hand, I'll never use them because they don't they're not good for me anymore. So I just have this little box full of lenses and I don't know what to do. So I love that idea of recycling. I think that if I was asked by the store at the time that I got my new glasses, would you like to recycle your old lens? I would probably just say yes because I have no use for them here. So I think it's a very nice idea and I think this is one of those things that kind of teach us how being sustainable can be much easier than than it looks because we often think that we need to make these big changes and completely change the way of and honestly just solving a problem that I believe most people that wear glasses have this problem. I'm a true believer that everyone that wears glasses has this same little box that I have with a ton of lenses that are unusable there. If you solve that issue of making that little box go away, you're also helping the environment. I just love that idea. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I do as well. And I think it's also about like embedding sustainability across operations, just like you just said there. So you don't always have to think about the bigger picture with just carbon emissions. I'm not, that's really important, but you can just go to little day to day things like that. And also talking about like waste and circularity. It's really great that people can come into our practices, recycle their glasses and unused glasses and lenses, of course, and also their contact lenses but they're doing that whilst they're getting their eyes tested. So we're able to look after them. We're looking after their eyes and ears. And in doing so, they're looking after the planet. And I just think that's really great.
That's amazing. That's amazing to hear. But you also mentioned, so you first started by calculating your emissions. Can you tell me a little bit about that? How was that process? Did you need to bring in help from the outside in order to calculate that? Did you all calculate that yourselves? How was the process?
Yeah. So last year, as I said as well, we started our sustainability journey with another supplier. And that was the start of our journey in general. I would say when I first started, it was quite a depth of knowledge that I really needed to understand. There's a difference between learning about something at university and doing it at a practical level. They're not worlds apart completely, but it's just one's just about learning new operations and how it actually works to your sector in general. So that was a really big learning curve for me. And I think that's really great as well. I'm deepening my knowledge and what I can bring to the business. And in doing so, that supplier did that for us as well. And it gave me a really great understanding of the importance of auditing and actually starting that initial momentum as well within the business. So understanding the different scopes and actually how does that apply to the optical and audiology industry in general. So so those three scopes look very different in different sectors. So it's about understanding what does that look like for our sector as well. So, but this year we have changed to working with the Green Earth Group, which is absolutely amazing as well. And it's been a really exciting step for us. There's a different level of detail that we get with the Green Earth Group as well. We get a bit more clarity and different reporting styles as well. That also deepens your knowledge and understanding more about the scopes one, two, and three. And that reporting structure works really well for us as a business and for me individually as well.
That's amazing to hear. What would be the particulars of this industry that you learned while you were going through this journey that you didn't expect that was something specific that you had to learn?
I think the varied depth of scope three kind of shocked me a little bit. Maybe shock's the wrong word. I think just the level of detail you really have to go into with scope three because scope one and two is really straightforward, isn't it? You know, you've got you're either accounting for your electricity and your gas and all those different fleet vehicles that you might have. And that's what scope one and two really looks like for us in this industry. The scope three is so much more varied than that. We've got things like team travel, client travel, postage, email send, capital goods expenditure, how much we spend on and how much we use of cleaning products in our practices. What do we buy, sell, and use as a practice? That's what the main thing of scope three really is encompassed of. So I think the depth that I had to go into and the different reports that I need to pull and just having those conversations with the practices as well, that was the breadth of scope three, I would say, was the most challenging to get my head around.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear because I think that's the challenge for everyone and everyone. When I started studying about this, I also got really, I could say, even scared about the sheer depth of what scope 3 can mean because I started thinking actually about my operations as just a content creator and I started thinking how much carbon actually I'm kind of responsible for because of everything that I do. And it's quite quite interesting, quite deep how far you can go. Well, coming back to the optics industry, I don't know anything about this industry besides the fact that I need to wear glasses. Can you tell me about the specifics of this industry that relate to the sustainability market and what did you find out in this process?
Yeah, of course. So the optical and audiology market is definitely waking up to sustainability, but it's still in its really early phases. So there's definitely awareness within the industry, which is absolutely great, but there's still a difference and a gap between what's meaningful and actually industry wide action. So I would say what sets Bayfields apart is definitely like our agility. So we're able to make a measurable impact, but also we're still small enough to adapt quickly. And we've chosen to act whilst others are still waiting as well. And we're not following those industry trends because we're aiming to set them. And as the pressure will continue to increase from regulations and in the next coming years as well, we've decided to invest in the early on in sustainability. And we're going to be the ones who are ready and credible and trusted and also transparent as well to all of our clients and the communities that we serve as well. So realistically, we want to position Bayfields in the market and not focus too much about what other people are doing, but set those standards for ourselves.
I think that's very inspiring to hear because usually when you look at any kind of initiative that's not entirely focused on profiting, it's always about following trends in the industry right now, right? So we care about this topic right now. Let's Everyone cares about this right now, so let's do this. Everyone cares about that right now, so let's do that. And being a pioneer in general requires some risk, right? You're taking a risk. You might not. It might not work out exactly like you wish it to work out. So, what motivated you guys to set these standards and be the pioneers in this industry? How did that come up?
So there's definitely a few layers to our motivation. So, but first and foremost, we absolutely care. We care as a business. We are a people first business and we're embedded into our local communities. And part of our values is to have a meaningful impact, but to also do what's right for the planet. It is about being a smart business, but sustainability comes from a core expectation within our structure. So, from our clients, from our employees, and also adhering to government guidelines as well. For us, it's about being resilient and respected and to put ourselves first and be that future fit business as well. We would hate for sustainability to be a nice to have. It's part of our business strategy now, and it's part of how we respond and we grow as a business as well.
I think that's very interesting because, but at the same time, I am also I'm curious about a little bit more about that because of course, it is the right thing to do, and I think that's amazing that you guys think like that. And I'm pretty sure that most people agree that it is the right thing to do. I mean, even the most like polluting business owner in the world, I imagine this person will agree that having more trees is not really a problem. And in fact, it's quite a good thing to have. Uh, but we know that most business don't only do what's right just because what is right. There are also other motivations. And as you said, it's also part of your core business strategy. Uh, can you tell me a little bit more of how sustainability relates to the business side of your operations and what kind of how does this affect your business essentially?
Yeah. So doing the right thing is definitely part of it. But for us, sustainability also delivers real results. It's helping us attract and retain brilliant people across the business and who want to work for a company that actually aligns with their values. And clients notice as well. They ask questions, about our recycling schemes, and they're genuinely interested. And they will become more interested as well the more that we talk about it. So operationally, it's helping us be more efficient and, of course, intentional from how we source our products, how we run our practices, but also it's about building trust and with our communities and, of course, our teams and our partners. And it starts with our values, but it also helps us deliver business value every single day. And that's just from doing what's right.
That's amazing to hear. So, are you actually attracting, for example, talent for your company because of this? Like, did you have any results regarding specific? I'm sorry if I'm getting too specific, but did you actually have like the case of like one person that you hired because this person was interested in these initiatives?
Yeah, I've heard multiple reports from our talent team and also one of our directors who actually gave me the feedback that someone wanted to join our organization because of what we're doing. Obviously, there's other moving parts to that as well, but I was absolutely thrilled with that. I think that's amazing. They've seen what we're doing, they've gone on our website, they've seen what we're doing day to day in practice, and they wanted to be a part of that. And I think that's absolutely incredible. They support our values, and that just means that they'd be a perfect fit for us as general and as business.
That's amazing to hear. And I'm I'm sorry if I'm getting too philosophical, but I think this speaks a little bit of how work is kind of changing, right? Because before you kind of just had a job because you had to have a job and you go there, do your job and go home. Now it feels like everyone worries about whether this job that we have is actually doing good for the world, for the communities, for everything. What we genuinely want to feel and see the impacts that our actions, and we want that impact to be positive. I think that's super interesting because it feels like everything is changing. Does that make sense, or I'm tripping too much?
No, I completely agree. That's the reason why I want to stay within my organization and for them to recognize and also for it to be a mutual decision for my role to be created. That's amazing. That's a company who completely supports my values, and that's a company I want to be part of. And I think that's what it all stems back to. We spend a lot of time at work, and it's about working with the right people, for one of them, but also being part of something that truly inspires you. And I definitely know that that's what my role does. It inspires me every single day. I'm constantly learning, and there's not every single job in the world you can say that about. So I'm learning, I'm strengthening my knowledge. And because I'm able to strengthen my knowledge, able to bring that to the business as well. And I just think that's really great. But above all, I'm just really passionate about it as well. So I want to do that learning. I want to take the initiative to learn in my own time, to learn from other like-minded individuals within the business, with different suppliers as well. That my breadth of knowledge that continues to grow is only going to make me happier at work and also be able to make meaningful impact as well.
That's amazing to hear. And again, you mentioned your journey. I think it's again your journey is super inspiring because you're when you started at Bayfields, your role was not related to anything sustainability. It was a communications role, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, and I kind of fell into the role as well. It was something I'd been at the role for about I've been at Bayfield, sorry, for 5 years now. So I came into the role through a family friend who recommended that I join Bayfields. I'd already known about Bayfields, of course, it was in my local community. And then I started working for the company, met some wonderful people whilst I worked there as well. And when you understand the wider business model, you understand that there's areas for you to grow and develop in. And recognizing those different areas that you can grow and develop is great because you're bringing something new to the business. And that's why I think I really love talking about my journey, that actually a company that I can work at and be my individual authentic self and to be celebrated for that is absolutely that is amazing. And so I'm really pleased with that journey so far.
That's amazing to hear. And well, I resonate 100% with what you said because it was a very, very similar situation for me at Green Earth because I am a I'm a kind of quirky, creative guy who I absolutely hate numbers. I cannot deal with numbers. And on my previous experiences, it was always that friction point. Like I can do my job, but I have a really, really rough time doing this. And when it came to DGB, our CEO was like, "No, like you're," and I was actually apologizing for my crazy ideas because that's what I have all the time. Like, I usually need to have someone right there saying, "Okay, Pedro, this idea maybe not the best way to go," because my mind just kind of wanders. And then I have someone, have the CEO Selwyn saying, "No, that's exactly why you're here. Like, I want to hear your crazy ideas." If they're too crazy, we'll decide not to do them. That's fine. But like the whole point of and that feels so nice. Like it feels great to be valued of something that is an intrinsically, fundamental part of yourself. And I feel that's amazing. And your journey is absolutely super inspiring. So what for other people that care about the environment, for people in college that want to make change, because I think again, I can't stress this enough. You didn't apply as a sustainability manager. You didn't start by actively looking for a role at a company that is already looking to be more sustainable. It seems like you, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you were part of the fundamental change inside of the company that started to look at this matter in a different way. So for all the people out there that care as well and are inspired by this and would love to do that as well, what kind of advice do you have?
I, I love the way you've just described that as well. So I think that's a really nice way of looking at it as well. I think a lot of people know roughly what they want to get into when they're older as well. And for me, that has always been sustainability. So if you could see a gap in a company that you currently work out, what you've got nothing to lose by pitching that idea to them as well. I was really fortunate as well that at Bayfields it was already in their minds, and that was in their business strategy that they really wanted to build into it. And they were looking for the right person, and it's turned out to be me internally. So that might be a unique case, but I would just say that keep pushing and keep pursuing. And just the way that I looked at it with the sustainability committee, it was just an idea that had been spoken about, but like I said, I completely ran with it. I constantly pursued, I kept on emailing about it. And I feel like my persistence really got us there as well. I might have annoyed a few people with more emails, but I wouldn't be in the position that I am in now if I hadn't have done that. So don't be afraid of chasing what you think's right and also putting yourself out there. I think that's the main thing. And you don't always have to move companies. You can see it within the company that you currently work for as well. And take anything from this story is just be persistent.
I love that, and especially the part of not being afraid of annoying people. I think we're too scared of making people uncomfortable, but I think that these things are sometimes a little bit. It doesn't matter if someone's a little bit annoyed with you. It's better than someone
Exactly.
not even thinking about you at all, because that's how you get replaced, right? So
Yeah, exactly. And as well, I was really encouraged by my manager at the time as well. And she kept encouraging me to send the emails and to not talk and not stop talking about it and don't let them forget about it as well. So I had people around me who were really encouraging me to do so as well. And I definitely think that helped me on the way and being surrounded by those people and only makes yourself more motivated.
That's amazing to hear. Now, coming back a little bit more to the technical details, because we talked about some actions that Bayfields took, practical actions of day to day to reduce or to reduce your carbon footprint. But we all know that there are actions that processes that we need to do every day in order to run a business that are impossible to be 100% sustainable. So that's where we come with compensation and carbon units, carbon credits, or however, carbon offsets, however people prefer to ask. And this is something that Bayfields is actually doing. This is how Bayfield partnered with Green Earth. And my question to you is, how did that process come by? When did you decide that it was? How was that decision of identifying the emissions that cannot be avoided and deciding, okay, we need to compensate for those emissions?
It all started with understanding what your impact actually looks like. And you can't understand that until you start measuring your impact. So when you start measuring the impact, so I would say that we have 55 practices. I need to break that down into individual level. Looking at them as a whole would be really overwhelming. And also the data might not be as accurate, which is why we need to go into an individual practice level. So it starts with that. It starts with understanding, do they have gas in the practice? Yes or no? What do their electricity bills look like? And then going on to your scope three and having that anecdotal data from practices as well, understanding where does the team travel from, talking about their clients. Are their clients traveling to us by car? Are they traveling to us by walking? Do they work around the corner? Do they get the train in the morning? And looking at how many emails they send, what parcels are we sending on a weekly basis, and really looking at the really small detail that people think might not be any detail doesn't go unnoticed. You can't leave any stone unturned. It's really important to build that picture of what it looks like from a practice level so that you can make sure that everything is accounted for. So when you have a look at that information can take a few days. I'm reliant on other people supplying some information, but it's fantastic that we have a system that I can pull reports and understand what that looks like as well. And there's multiple other things within that, but I have a system that works really well. And I can have a look at what that actually looks like from a detailed perspective. And within that, it's about, first of all, understanding what does that practice carbon footprint look like. One practice will completely differ from another practice as well. So one practice might be a little bit smaller and one might be a little bit larger. So every practice is individually looks different. So it's really important to know that as well and not just duplicate the efforts from one practice onto another one and take every single thing individually as well. And once you start understanding what that impact generally looks like, you can start thinking of ways to remove that from the atmosphere. And that's where our partnership with the Green Earth definitely comes in. So I account for what it looks like. And the whole term of being carbon neutral or being net zero is understanding the impact, but then removing that impact from the environment. So I like to describe it to everyone at Bayfields. I always say that whatever we put into the environment, we remove from the environment. So it becomes that neutral, that net status, basically. And with that, that's my job to understanding and to learn and to educate other people about offsetting in general. And with the Green Earth Group, we do with the Cook Stove project, and I think that's amazing that there's projects that the Green Earth actually drive themselves and having that tangible impact, understanding what it looks like is absolutely fantastic as well. And you understand that just by you measuring what you do in your day-to-day operations can really help other communities across the globe.
That's amazing to hear. And when it comes to carbon projects, there are, well, thousands of different projects out there, many different options, many cheaper options, many more expensive options. How did you find Green Earth, and what got your attention? Why were you interested in partnering with Green Earth specifically for this compensation?
So last year, like I said, we used to work with another supplier, but there was something there that I knew that the Green Earth could give to us. And generally, it started with a Google search. I just went online and I started to look for different suppliers as well. And then I was started to do further research, and the Green Earth really caught my attention. I had some absolutely fantastic conversations with Winker, who is our account manager, and she really opened my eye up into what your system does, and also what does the Green Earth as a company do and what contributions do you have on the environment? And that to me felt really aligned with our business values as well. And it's been a really, really exciting change for us. The level of detail, the support that we get, the clarity that we have from the Green Earth Group has been an absolute game changer for us. The reporting structure really suits our needs as our business continues to grow as well. And the way they work has felt really truly collaborative. And it's not just been about ticking boxes, but it's helped us stay on track with getting to net zero as well and our net zero goals. And by looking at the bigger picture with the Green Earth Group and how its sustainability has been embedded into all different levels of our business as well, and not just at our practice level. I would definitely say that the partnership has brought different levels of credibility and accountability, which has been really important for us when talking about sustainability and understanding real, measurable, and transparent reporting has been incremental to our business now as well. And learning more about what the Green Earth does with all the different offsetting projects that you actually support and what you do actually and what you initiate yourselves has been something that we didn't quite get with that previous supplier. And knowing that the Green Earth do that themselves, that and seeing the actual impact that you have as a business. And there's people within your organization who are on the ground level and you talk about it more, you provide all that level of detail. And I just think that is something that really aligns with us. And so that's why we're really proud to work with the Green Earth Group.
That's amazing to hear. And going a level deeper on details, within Green Earth, we have multiple projects available, and you specifically started compensating with the Hungara Energy Efficient Cook Stoves project in Kenya. What was about this project that got your attention and got you interested?
We supported other cook stove projects before with our previous supplier as well. So I never quite fully understood until having to done some research over the past few years about cook stove projects, the impact that has on the environment. But not only the impact it has on the environment, but also the impact it has on the communities, the level that they have to go to be able to cook. They have to forage the wood. They have to walk miles to be able to do this. It's not the safest option. It's not the best option for the planet as well. And that just felt something that really aligned with our values, which is why, in all honesty, we picked it on gut feel, and that's great. And understanding that our account managers go there and see that in person as well, it felt like a connection to it. So that's the reason we went for it.
That's amazing to hear. Yeah, to be honest, when I first started researching and learning about that, when it came to the cook stoves project, I really didn't quite understand the point because it was still burning wood, it was still doing something, it was still emitting carbon to the atmosphere. But then when I saw the social impact of these cook stoves, and I think this is something that we can always tell people, but I could really see it firsthand when I went there to visit the projects. It's absolutely mind blowing, the difference that it makes to people. I think it even the social impact would be if it's even more important in this case than the actual environmental impact because I don't know, I just heard people saying, yeah, now I have time to clean my house while I cook. I don't have to watch the fire all the time. Now my eyes don't hurt anymore. I don't have any lung inflammation anymore because of the smoke that was before that was there before. And I think that even more interesting than that is that since people when people are worried about too many things, they can't worry about, you know, more complex or more difficult things to worry about. Since if you're worried about gathering wood all day, you're probably not gonna worry if your house doesn't look as nice, or you're probably not gonna worry that your kid missed school today because you actually have to focus on one thing that is even more important, which is having enough food to eat. Now that you don't have to worry about that, you can actually take more time to take care of your house. You can actually take more time to, inspire your kid to go to school or maybe to study yourself. And I think that on the long term, these impacts are going to be amazing, really. So that's really, really cool to hear.
I'd just like to say as well that things that we take for granted every single day isn't someone else's reality. So to be able to help that has been, it feels really inspiring. And I'm really pleased to be part of that.
That's yeah, that's definitely amazing to hear. So your sustainability journey with Bayfields started well pretty recently. So it's a bit unfair for me to ask this question, but I want to ask you anyway. Did you see any tangible results since you started? And if so, what were they?
I think the results would probably be engagement from the teams. We're only 34 out of the 55 practices. So I probably couldn't speak about any massive results that we've seen in terms of ground level. But what I definitely can talk about, I've seen a shift in people's behavior towards sustainability. And that to me is a massive win. In the future, I'd like to future proof the strategy as well. When we get to 55 practices, it's not about just offsetting anymore, it's about carbon reduction. And we're not quite there yet. But I don't want to claim that we're being perfect by being on this journey. I think it's really important to understand that you don't need a handful of companies or people being completely perfect. You need millions of people being completely imperfect and just trying. And that's exactly where we want to be. We want to try and we want to be better and to see a different shift in mindset with people across the business. I think that is the biggest win of all because a mindset change can doesn't always have to just end at work. It can be beyond and go home and make different decisions. Although it might be once a day, they might think about something to do with sustainability. That is still better than no time. So that to me is the biggest win.
I absolutely love what you said. I think this is a very positive take on environmental action because, and a refreshing, different way of thinking about things. Because every time that we look about we research about sustainability, every time is like the world is ending and there's not enough time to do anything anymore. And I think that's a very pessimistic way of looking at things. And often the actions that we would supposedly have to take in order to make some impact are quite impractical, if not impossible. But I feel that the most important thing is the way that people think and the way that people act about things. After all, we all want to change everyone's behavior to a more sustainable one, right? And what you said is amazingly true. You're at least starting to make people think about sustainability in a different way. That's definitely the starting point of something much, much greater. So I love that you shared that. Megan, I want to thank you for your time and for joining us on this podcast. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with the audience before we say goodbye?
Yeah, I'd love to say that sustainability isn't about being perfect. It's just about showing up, making better choices, and learning as we go because nobody's perfect, but everyone can make a difference. And that's what sustainability is really about. It's just about trying and learning, improving, and moving forward together. So I would say let's embrace being perfectly imperfect and create a change that we want to see just one step at a time.
That's amazing to hear. Thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you, everyone, for listening to us. See you on the next episode of the Green Earth Podcast. Thank you for joining us today. The Green Earth Podcast is a Green Earth initiative. Green Earth is a large scale, nature based project developer, and our goal is to help nature flourish and prosper. If you want to read more about our projects, please check our website, green.earth. The link is also in the description. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider leaving us a review. And if you know anyone that might benefit from this content, we'd greatly appreciate your recommendation. I'm Pedro Zimmer, your host, and I hope to see you for the next episode of the Green Earth Podcast.